remember, pay attention, y'all. They have to let us know first before they can do anything to us. That's heavenly rules, right? That's how God laid it out for these little demon mother. They can't with us without letting us know that they're about to with us.
Going through a period, I was having a struggle with hopelessness.
Oh, okay.
And it was just really, the world is in the dark.
Yeah, so explain this. Why did Malcolm-Jamal Warner, who got pulled out of the water by bystanders, still end up dead after being treated by the freaking Red Cross?
Let's go to the date he actually died on, which is July 20th, which is the 201st day of the year. Yeah, can anybody tell me why The Cosby Show ran for a total of 8 seasons, equaling 201 episodes?
They warned him. Eddie Griffin told Malcolm-Jamal Warner straight up, "You're too clean for this dirty game." And no, not on camera, in private. Real talk from a real friend. And now, Malcolm's gone, drowned on a Costa Rican beach. But the way this story keeps flipping, Sketchy doesn't even begin to cover it. First, they said he died a hero, saving his daughter from a rip current. That version was everywhere, headlines, social feeds, even US Weekly swore by it. But out of nowhere, the script changed. Suddenly, they're saying his daughter wasn't even in the water. Huh? Oh, and Malcolm's wife wasn't there either. So we're supposed to believe he brought his 8-year-old daughter to a deadly, unguarded beach plastered with warning signs alone? And if she wasn't swimming, like they now claim, she was just chillin' solo on the shore while Malcolm dived into danger? Yeah, no, that don't add up. This man lived for his family. He literally prayed for a daughter, said he manifested her.
Even before conception, we were very clear we were having a girl. And I knew that I needed a girl first to kind of ease me into it because I have a pretty good idea of what kind of father I would be. Mm-hmm. So I needed a girl to kind of, slow me down and warm, and soften me up, if you will. So for me, raising my daughter, I came into fatherhood already with a certain maturity and certain understanding of male-female dynamics. And with a girl, all of that starts with the father. Mm. So I've always, since I literally pulled her out of my wife.
In his final interview, just before everything went down, Malcolm-Jamal Warner straight up said his wife and daughter were his entire world.
My wife, through a mutual friend, I've never second-guessed it. We've been together almost 10 years, and we have never had a fight, an argument, a raised voice, or a harsh word said to one another.
In 10 years?
I was like, if I'm going to have a kid, this is the person that I would want to have it with. I talk about them because there are obviously the hugest parts of my life, the best parts of my life, the best decisions I've ever.
So seriously, what really went down on that Costa Rican beach? Because Eddie Griffin didn't drop that warning to Malcolm-Jamal Warner for fun. The man's been in the game too long. He knows exactly how this twisted industry moves. He saw the target on Malcolm's back from a mile away, a black man in Hollywood with zero scandals, no shady handlers, no mess to cover up, just a clean rep, speaking out, uplifting black boys, and calling out the system. And we all know they don't like that.
The thing about a black boy is you don't necessarily want to beat a black boy. What you want to do is you want to love him so divinely. You want to love him so fiercely that your disappointment will kill him. You want to adore him so much that the last thing he wants to do is disappoint.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner never played by Hollywood's fake little rulebook. He minded his business, picked his own projects, and straight up refused to play the clown. Quiet? Sure. But he was paying attention, linking back up with folks like Dave Chappelle and Mos Def, the ones who also ditched the machine. That's when Eddie Griffin really started pulling him aside, saying stuff like, if you stay clean, they'll come for you. They hate clean.
No criminal charges.
There is a systematic effort to destroy
every black male entertainer's image. Nobody leaves this business clean.
So if you're sitting there thinking Malcolm-Jamal Warner's death doesn't exactly scream accident, yeah, you're not alone. A lot of people are saying the same thing Eddie Griffin warned him about, especially with how the media keeps tiptoeing around the real story. Right after the news broke, the first version plastered everywhere said Malcolm and his 8-year-old daughter were in the water together and got caught in a rip current. But less than 48 hours later, Costa Rica's Judicial Investigation Agency issues a statement saying that while it's true that Malcolm was initially playing with his daughter at the seashore at one point, she was left out of the water before he was pulled in by a rip current and drowned. The statement said it was at that moment that Warner and a friend were swept away by the current, and the friend managed to get out. And then, surprise, surprise, the story magically changed again. At first, they said one guy tried to save Malcolm-Jamal Warner and almost drowned too. However, this new statement from the Costa Rica authorities claims that Malcolm was pulled from the water by several people on the beach. Oh, and wait for this plot twist. Now they're saying there weren't just random bystanders, but 3 tourists who just so happened to be doctors right there on the beach. And somehow, they managed to save the other guy who almost drowned, but not Malcolm-Jamal Warner? Yeah, that's not suspicious at all. The story keeps shifting like a bad movie script, and honestly, you don't need to wear a tinfoil hat to feel like something's off. Even locals started calling it out. That beach, Flyacles, is notorious for deadly rip currents and literally zero safety. Studies call it the most dangerous beach in all of Costa Rica. Even Olympic swimmers have been wrecked by those tides. And we're supposed to believe Malcolm took his daughter there to swim alone, while his wife chilled back at the hotel. Oh, and guess what? No lifeguards that day either. The local volunteer group admitted the beach was basically unwatched because they're broke. Still, giant warning signs everywhere scream, "Don't swim, drowning risk."
This is the beach where all this unfolded, but really, as soon as you get here, even before you get onto the beachhead, you can see some warning signs for people who are coming to enjoy the day here. It says, "Corrientes de resaca todo el año." Basically warning people there is a current here throughout the year. You can see there are warnings for surfers, there's warnings about wave conditions, and then take a look at this. This massive sign says you can survive a rip current. Clearly, they're warning people about the conditions that can develop, and unfortunately, the conditions appear to have pulled out Malcolm-Jamal Warner over the weekend.
So let's break it down, shall we? First, they push this emotional rescue story, Malcolm-Jamal Warner dying heroically while saving his daughter. Then, poof, that version vanishes, and suddenly everyone goes quiet. Meanwhile, the spot where it all happened is a literal death trap, with no supervision and huge warning signs screaming, "Don't swim." Red flags everywhere. And if this was really just a tragic accident, then why the never-ending remix of the story? Why let the world believe his daughter almost drowned with him until it didn't fit the script? And where's the press conference? Where's even a single clip from the scene? Now, remember what Eddie Griffin said, "Stay too clean in this business, and they'll come for you." Like someone knew how this would unfold and just waited. So, why take Malcolm out? Because he wasn't your average Hollywood puppet. He refused to play along, wouldn't put on a dress for laughs, and never accepted degrading roles. And on top of that, he spoke out. Loud. Clear. In 2021, he even wrote a piece for the Television Academy calling out how white producers and studio execs keep funneling black actors into humiliating roles. White network and studio executives, white writers, producers, and white directors are the gatekeepers of black images on television. Malcolm wrote, "During the cycles where the gate hinges loosen slightly and black creatives are given some input and illusion of control, the stereotypes often continue, even if the black characters are given professions and higher socioeconomic status." And let's not forget Malcolm-Jamal Warner's podcast, Not All Hood, where he straight up dragged Hollywood and the media for acting like all black people are cut from the same cloth. Just recycling the same tired stereotypes over and over again like a broken record.
The reason for the title is combating the narrative of Black life, Black culture that the media focuses on. And,
that we're all one thing.
Yeah. And the whole concept is, we're not all hood. The Black community is not a monolith. There's so many levels and lanes to the Black community.
Malcolm-Jamal Warner didn't hold back when it came to dragging modern rap and hip-hop either. He called out the misogyny, the toxic masculinity, all of it. The man wanted real change and healing in the community. But let's be real, that kind of truth doesn't sit well with the big record labels, especially when their whole business model is built on selling chaos, drama, and division.
A moratorium on both of those words in hip hop because it's low-lying fruit, it's so easy, everybody does it to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole. But I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing and
as much
every 2 sentences because he's proven himself to be such a incredible lyricist
that you think it's just too low-hanging fruit for him to use those words.
And when that whole Kendrick versus Drake beef lit up the internet last year, guess who didn't jump on the hype train? Malcolm-Jamal Warner. While every other celeb picked sides like it was high school drama, Malcolm called it what it was, a distraction. He said it's pathetic how hip-hop only hits the mainstream when it's about violence, beef, or some toxic chaos. So yeah, Malcolm wasn't here to play it safe. He challenged the narrative every single chance he got. He wouldn't be controlled, wouldn't sell out, and maybe he got too close to the truth. That's why Eddie Griffin's warning wasn't just casual advice, it was a real, watch your back. And that's also why this whole death? It feels way too convenient. Eddie just made it crystal clear, Malcolm wasn't a problem, he was a threat. Eddie posted a tribute to Malcolm on Instagram and wrote, "My heart is heavy today. For what the world lost was a father, a son, a poet, a musician, an actor, a teacher, a writer, a director, a friend, a warrior that I had the pleasure of going to war with against the Hollywood machine." But here's where the story gets even darker. Some insiders are now saying that Malcolm was digging into something even more serious than the Hollywood machine. Allegedly, Malcolm-Jamal Warner was getting ready to expose a secret so deep, the elites would rather kill than let it come out. And in one of his final Instagram posts, Malcolm dropped this cryptic line, like a warning wrapped in plain sight. It's just words. It's just entertainment. You're looking into it too deeply, okay? Because I know we can do better. Hopefully, this leads to growth all around. The culture is on life support, y'all.